What's going on, everyone? So, according to Brian Windhorst, the Los Angeles Lakers are active in discussions to try to acquire a wing. Now, I know people right off the bat are going to go, what about a center? We need a center. We don't just need a center. We need other things besides center. I'm sure that the Lakers are also active in trying to get a center. How do I know that the Lakers are active in trying to get a center? Because Rob Pelinka himself said that they're going to turn over every stone and that they will get a center, right? We'll see what it is. Is it free agency? Is it trades? Who knows, right? Shams even reported that kind of the NBA is waiting around to see what ultimately ends up happening with the Lakers. Do they get their center through free agency? Do they get it through trade? But again, Lakers need more than just the center position, right? Like Lakers, yes, I understand we all want to see the Lakers solve the center position, but if you can get other moves first, then go get those other moves first, especially if it doesn't prevent you from going and getting an active wing. Obviously, Andrew Wiggins has been the guy heavily linked to the Lakers, although there have been reports recently from like Jacob Fisher that's like, hey, that's not as accurate as it's been. Supposedly none of the reports have been accurate, right? I mean, literally all of the Walker Kessler day, this day and that, like none of those things are accurate. So again, it's always a guessing game. Like that's something we got to keep in mind. It's always a guessing game, right? Everything is speculation. Everything is rumor until it actually happens and goes through. And then once it actually goes through, then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now it's concrete, right? Yes, I talk about all the various news and trade potentials and give some of my thoughts and some of my ideas and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all until something actually happens. It's all just fun conversation, right? That's why I always say it's just a fun conversation, right? Of potential possibilities, right? Because Rob Pelinka and the Lakers are doing the same thing as they should be. But, all right, again, according to Brian Windhorst, Lakers in active talks to acquire a wing. The Lakers aren't just looking for a center. They are actively looking for wing players too. Look, you can be actively looking for whoever you want. Doesn't mean you will make a deal. But the Lakers are in conversations about trying to get wing players because they need wing defenders. The thing is, if they're committed to Austin Reeves and they're committed to Luka playing together, they got to have more defense than just the center. I would expect the Lakers to do something before the end of the week trade-wise. I don't know if it's going to be their center, but they're definitely messing around. So again, Lakers active in trying to find a wing. I don't think that this would affect the Lakers landing a center at all. And look, I've talked about it. Like, I don't believe the Lakers need a super skilled center. I don't. If worst case scenario, and I've said this several times, like if worst case scenario, the Lakers end up landing Clint Capella and like a Luke Cornett, right, as like their two centers, that's fine, right? As long as the Lakers are doing other things, right? If they just get Luke Cornett and Clint Capella and then that's it, and they're just kind of, hey, job well done, gentlemen, right? Like, then yeah, I'm gonna be like, what, right? Like, but no, again, if they're able to, let's say, get that combination, Cornett and Capella, perfect, right? And then they're going and they trade for an Andrew Wiggins, and then they trade for a Cam Whitmore, right? And it's like, okay, now they got two versatile athletic wings that they can slot in and do multiple things out there on the basketball court. You add in our two draft picks, our draft pick and two-way guy and Eric Dixon, which I think Dixon has the potential to make the actual roster, and Lakers might need him on the actual roster to kind of just have cheap salary, especially with them being hard kept at the second apron. But even beyond that, right? Like, as long as the Lakers are getting upgrades in key areas, that's all I care about. And then addressing whatever you need to address in free agency. If the center position is what you address in free agency, then the center's position is what you address in free agency, right? Either way, I think the Lakers will be fine and find their center. It's just patience. I know as a fan base, we're not like the most patient, right? Especially when it's something that we desperately need and you're like looking at the roster and it's like, we literally don't have a center. And it's like, well, we do, but it's just, we don't have a starting center is the way to approach that. Because we still have Koloko, who's a restricted free agent that the Lakers are probably going to bring on to the main roster, and then Trey Jamison, right? Again, I wouldn't want none of those guys. I don't even necessarily want either of those guys as our primary backup, but as like our third big, sure. But again, there are several free agent centers that I do believe the Lakers are going to be in play for and will have an opportunity, especially if one of these guys know that they'll get the opportunity to be a starting center, they'll probably come. Like, again, a Clint Capella, if you tell him, like, hey, we'll start you, right? The only other team that might start him is like the Warriors. And it's like, do I want to go to the Warriors or do I want to go to the Lakers with Luka Doncic that's going to make me be a double-double guy at least, if not better, right? And now you have the size and the interior, and then you go get, like I said, a backup center that you can slot in and play a role. You'll be fine. Hey, again, bring in Eric Dixon, and now you got your small ball center, and you can do things out there, and the Lakers will be fine. Again, I just don't think the Lakers need some super skilled center. And teams also know how badly the Lakers need a center, right? So, again, and like Brian Windhorst said, it's not, they're looking for a center still, right? Like, again, it's like both can be true. You can be shopping and trying to find, a center, but also find a wing, right? It's just like when you go to the grocery store, like you can't like, oh, I need to get milk. Like, doesn't mean you can only buy milk. It means you can buy milk and, I also need some eggs. Let me get some eggs, right? I also need, bread. Let me get some bread. Like, it's the same thing. You're going into the free agency and you're getting all the pieces you need. And you're doing your little shopping, and then, you're trying to go in and do the trade thing. And it's like, okay, can we get an Andrew Wiggins? Okay, got an Andrew Wiggins. Check. Okay, can we get, a Cam Whitmore? We got a Cam Whitmore. Check. Okay, boom, 2 wings. Okay, what else do we need? Oh, can we go get a Nick Claxton still? Oh, we can? Okay, boom, got that. All right, okay, let's go sign Clint Capella or Luke Cornett as a backup. Boom, got that. Okay, let's go do, and get a DeAnthony Melton or Chris Paul or whatever, right? Like, there you go. I do think it's also interesting that, he brought up the Austin Reeves factor of it, right? If they do intend on keeping Austin Reeves, they need more defense than just the perimeter. And that's the thing, they do, right? Like, they desperately do. You cannot have Luka, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura with no real defensive center as like your starting five. It's just not going to work. Right? Come playoff time. You could, obviously we saw them going like, 23 game stretch where they're like the best defense in all of basketball with that unit with Jackson Hayes and whatnot. But regular season we've seen is not the playoffs. And once you get the playoffs, it's a very different game, very different beast. Everything changes, right? And so you're not going to be able, it's like, okay, and a big thing that people bring up is like, oh, well, Luka went to the conference finals with Jalen Brunson before he was real, like this Jalen Brunson. And, he went to the NBA finals with Kyrie. So it works. Like, you can see it work. And yes, you're right. Like, that is very possible. I don't think it's unlikely or impossible for Reeves and Luka to work as your backcourt. I don't like it. I'd prefer kind of more better balance in your backcourt. But is it impossible? No. Right? Again, we've seen it. Now, the other thing that people need to keep in mind, though, is look at Dallas when they went to the finals. They had, Derrick Jones Jr., who became like the ideal 3-and-D wing and is one of the most athletic players in the NBA. And then they also had PJ Washington, who became like a defensive anchor for them. And they had Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively. Like, they had multiple defensive centers. They had multiple defensive wings. Right? They had the pieces to complement a Luka and Kyrie, so they were able to get there. Same thing with a Dallas team that had Brunson. Like, they had the athleticism around them. It wasn't a Rui Hachimura. I love Rui. Rui's fantastic, but that guy can't defend his shadow, right? The guy can't like chase down these loose balls. He can't do all this. He doesn't have the athleticism, and teams know that, so they just attack him, and they know and then they're running into Jackson Hayes. Like, I'd probably be excited to match up. And I'm, an old fat dad. Like, I'd probably be like, this is great, right? Like, give me the rock. Like, because again, at the end of the day, in all seriousness, right? Like, it's like you look at this lineup, right? It's like, okay, you got Luka Doncic. Okay, fine. Right? He's so good, so transcending. You could justify it. Every team has kind of their weak link defensively. Can he just be serviceable? Okay, well, who's next to Luka Doncic? Right? It's like, oh, maybe you have somebody really athletic, or just like a good point of attack, even like a Bruce Brown or something like that. It's like, oh, nope, it's Austin Reeves. It's like, okay, all right, so, okay, fine. excellent offensively. I get it. Maybe he can be serviceable too. Boom. You must have some real athletes next to those two. And it's like, you look on the weak side, it's like LeBron James. Okay. All right, LeBron, let's go. Okay. Well, then who's next? And it's like Rui Hachimura. And it's like, oh, okay. Right? Where's the athleticism outside of LeBron? It's like, okay, you must have like Anthony Davis as your center. Oh no, it's Jackson Hayes, right? Like that's the problem that the Lakers have. So they need to solve their wing depth issue. They need to solve their center issue. Like they have so many things that they need to solve that it's not like, again, I understand people, the priority is a center. And I know people want to see a center. I know people are starving for it. I get all that, right? And the Lakers should be very active at trying to get a center, without a doubt, right? That is their biggest need. No questions, ands, ifs, buts about it. But again, that's not their only need. If you can get a quality forward, go get a quality forward. If you can get an Andrew Wiggins or, any of these guys, right? Like, go get them if you can. And then get a center. There are plenty of center options. And again, especially if some of these guys on the free agency market, if they know that they could start, you don't think that they're going to go to the Lakers? Of course they will. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. So enjoy these types of videos. Truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel. Hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.